3 times. Okay. You are live, so it says. So hello, everyone. Um, I'm gonna tweet this out, and I just got notification that we are live. And if you are here, please say hello so that we know that we can be heard. And hello, Emmarae. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Salter. Look at us. I know, right, Salter? Look at us up in here. Hello, Regina Renee. And I have not had anything to drink tonight. So I'm totally 100% sober. So if this is any indication of how things are going to go, it should be lively. So we are here. We are discussing. I don't know. Are we discussing? We are discussing chapters 1 through 3 of River Solomon's and Unkindness of Ghosts. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do reading sprints, and we're gonna talk about it in between. So the plan is 2 hours, and then we'll see what happens after that. So hello, Val. Hello, T. Morgan. You told me your name. I have to go look it up. So hello to everyone. So I'm going to turn it over to Britt so she can tell you about her.
Hello, all. I'm Britt. My channel is Britt Readalong. It's a book and author tube where I talk about the intersection of literature and culture, and I share my own writing journey. Um, Go check it out. Watch a few videos. You might see some poetry. Check that out too. If you like what you see, hit that big red button, and we can be internet friends.
And Britt, I put all of your information in the description box. So I tried to be proactive. But Salter says that your volume is low.
Didn't I tell you, Erica? It's a constant battle with me and
It's okay. It's
yeah.
okay. Um
Thank you, T. I just call her T. T, is that not your name? Not Josh saying it's miles apart. Very apt, Josh, seeing as you're the bookish voyage, the miles.
you know, Josh is a character. I love Josh. Don't get me wrong, I do love Josh. And Josh will be co-hosting um the 24th on the 24th. So come back for that. I think Emmarae was the first person that said hello. Um Emmarae is doing a couple of days as well. And yeah, I was just looking to see who else was in the chat that was going to be co-hosting. So, who has read An Unkindness of Ghosts before? Um, you can do like a show of hands or, the whole me thing or however you want to let us know that you've read it before.
Me. Sing it
I
out.
know, right? You know how it is. Like, okay, I may be dating myself here when I say things like this, but way back in the day with what's no, it was not what's happening, but it was around the time of what's happening. But Welcome Back, Cotter and Horshack was like, ooh, me. Yeah, that. See, I'm old,
See,
y'all.
I'm 25 years old. So
Okay.
any if you go past like the 90s and even some 90s shows. I'm like, yeah, but I was a baby then and I didn't go back and rewatch it. So
Okay. So I'm just old.
seasoned, mature.
Seasoned. Okay, my knees tell me I'm like 1,000. My knees tell me that I'm old.
Oh, well, if the these are the metric.
Yeah. So,
No, because Mildred be acting about me all the time. Mm-mm. The knees can't be the metric. Unacceptable.
okay. All right. I'll go with that. And the next time I'm stooping down and then I can't get back up, I'm going to be like, okay.
You just
Britt,
gotta speak to him. Yeah, Mildred, we can make this. Come on, stop playing. Yeah, just rub her a little
speak
bit.
to the knees. Speak to the knees.
Absolutely. I have my right knee and my left hip. Mildred and Lucy.
Oh,
Lucy is
okay.
Lucy
That's
gonna start acting up. We gotta speak life into her as well.
okay. Where are you from, Britt?
I'm from Arkansas.
Okay. I was about to say that's some country stuff. That's some country stuff. Hey, Bethany Darby, how are you? Um, having a kindness of ghosts. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. Are you gonna read it with us? I hope so. Oh, hi Ari. I saw you pop in. I hope you are still here. Hello. Um, did I get everybody? Say hello to everybody. Um,
Mississippi, stand up. Okay, T.
so Emmarae's read it. Josh, T Morgan. Val has never read it. This is your first time. Okay, you are in for a ride. Um,
Not this guy. Okay, Josh.
so Salt. This guy. Okay, you know what, Josh? You're gonna take your keyboard away. Um, yeah, Sarah read it with us last time.
Okay.
Um, Seasoned. That's what T Morgan says as well. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. Um, welcome back, Cotter. It's so much. Yeah, I remember that. Um, any new additions to your collection? Ari, Mississippi. Hello. Hello, Wendy. Haven't read it.
My first time reading it as well, Wendy. So
Um, I've heard such good things about Amari and the Night Brothers, and
amazing.
that cover is gorgeous.
I mean, I'm loving all of the beautiful black people being full frontal on
Yeah.
screen and not being like a shoulder or a hand or like
Mhm.
abstract. Now, we don't have to get into these white folk over here blackfishing with their covers.
Right. Right.
We don't have to speak on it. But I'm loving the real ones out here holding it down, lifting it up.
Mhm. Yeah, so am I. I'm excited. Publishing is changing slowly,
What an
very
exciting
slowly,
time. I'm writing as fast
but
as I am. I'm gonna keep the door propped open till I get there, y'all.
yeah, and somebody's got to bust it down at some point.
Yeah, I'm so excited for all these debuts that are busting it down and who are
Yeah.
also saying like thank you to like Walter Dean. Like Ashley always gives the genealogy of these people and who the debut people who look back and say thank you to these people. You opened the door for me.
Yeah.
I appreciate them calling in their four writers.
Yeah. So, do you have any questions you want to ask before? Yeah, you. Before
Question,
we get started,
questions about what?
anything as like far as the book is concerned or you want to throw out in there in the atmosphere?
So I told y'all that this is my first time reading the book. So these are all just I just wrote down in my Melanin Eclectic Reading Journal. Um my like visceral thoughts and the overwhelming visceral thought is this. I would like to pop Giselle one time for the one time. Just one. Because listen here. Listen, I know you're upset and you don't like where we are, but guess what, boo? We here together. Don't come into my space after I've had a long day amputating this poor baby foot and then start throwing my stuff around, putting my mama's journals. Like, I will heavy-handed slap you in the throat. Like, it was just, it was a lot for me meeting her. And then the flashback of her, like, with the dolls, I was like, oh, that's aggressive. It was a lot. It was a lot. And so that's my opening comment is Giselle, if she don't calm down, can catch these country
Catch
hands.
his hands.
Heavy as a ham hock, baby girl, don't play with me. Calm down. Calm down.
Okay.
I
Okay.
sure might be the one, but I'm not the two. So I'm just having these feelings of resentment towards her. But I am feeling like the two of them might be, actually good friends in their own, like, if this is your love language kind of way. They definitely seem to have a history. So I'm like, I don't want to
Mhm.
slap Esther's friend, but
I understand.
slappable tongue.
I understand that. I understand. I understand. 100%. I get it. I get it.
That's just me.
I mean, I cannot I can't dispute that feeling.
Oh,
Cuz
so
I mean,
stay?
huh?
Why you don't want to pop her?
Oh no, cuz like when I in rereading it for this,
Mhm.
I was like, "You know what? Giselle, she wow."
She gets better every
She's
read,
a
or like she
she's a
gets
lot. She's a no, she's a well, okay, you'll understand why she's the way she is
uh-huh.
as the story goes on, but
Uh-huh.
she's a lot.
She's
She's
giving
a
me a lot vibes, and I'm
yeah,
just
she's a lot.
we're
But
going
you
through the same things, bro. And then this lieutenant guy like has me on his crap list. Are you on someone's crap list? Because if not,
oh, you'll understand, and then your heart will bleed for everyone.
yeah. And this seems like that kind of like this seems like the kind of book in the kind of circumstance where your heart will bleed for everyone. For me, I'm like I don't see my heart bleeding for the upper deckers. That's just me.
Okay.
But I'm only on chapter 3. So
Yeah.
maybe my heart will come to bleed for them. It is admittedly harder for my heart to bleed for our fairer skinned cousins than the darker skinned. But if it's bleed worthy, the blood will come.
Yep. It will. Does anybody in the chat so everybody feels the same way about Giselle.
Oh, do they? Okay,
Yeah,
good. Protect
everybody
me at all costs, period.
yeah, everybody feels the same way about Giselle. Protect Flick at all costs. So,
Period.
if you have read so far, because we are going to do some reading sprints for those that have not read, we may just do like 30 minutes. I think that might be, well, 30 minutes and then talk. I think that should be good. Um, but because chapter one is pretty short. But does anybody have anything that they want other people to think about? And I like to do that. I do that with my students. Like, do you have anything that anybody would like that you want folks to think about that like caught your attention and while they're reading? Does that make sense?
Anything that people want to be attentive to as we read
Yeah.
makes sense to me. What do you teach?
So I tutor um reading and writing, or we'll just say language arts.
Okay.
We'll just say that's easier than going down the whole list
Yes.
of language arts. So yeah, so I tutor language arts, and I haven't really done a whole lot since the pandemic because it's hard. You can't meet with them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I working out.
sometimes it's just harder to have them online all day and then trying to tutor online again.
What grade is this?
It doesn't. I'm from elementary school up.
All the way up, like
I
secondary
do
or middle school?
I do college level adults,
Okay.
in which English is their second language.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a little bit. Let's see. Ari feels the same way about Giselle. Get the history between Aster and Surgeon at some point, right? Yes, you will.
I was feeling some things.
Yes, we will get. We will
Is
get that history.
there a little kissy face history here?
We'll get that history. I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to get that history.
I can smell some tea brewing a mile away. As soon as he bristled when she called him surgeon, I said, "Why?
Nah.
What did she call you?" And then she said Theo, and I said, "Oh, Theo. That seems like a Bay name. I want to know more."
It will, yes. And Theo has a chapter. I'll just say that.
Really? With his
Theo,
POV?
he has, yeah, with his POV. He has a whole chapter.
Okay, Theo. Don't get popped, but okay, Theo.
Giselle seems solid to me so far in chapter 3. She hid and got soaked while asked, and she was quiet while she got soaked too.
That's what surprised me. But I
Yeah.
don't think she did that for Astrid. I think she did that because she was being nosy. Because had she come out, he would not have continued to speak. So I don't think she was
Um,
selflessly hold my tongue.
yeah, yeah.
No.
So, um, yeah. We'll talk more about Giselle. Um, after, like, before we close out, we'll talk more about Giselle and her character. Because like Salter says, Giselle seems pretty solid, but we'll talk more about that. So bring that back up, Salter, if you're still here. It's on Hoopla. Yeah, it is on Hoopla. I guess I could have told you that. I'm sorry, my bad, Bethany. Because I got it from Hoopla. Not far enough to have feelings against Giselle. Okay. Oh wait, it jumped. I'm sorry. Where are we? Agree. Emmarae agrees. The generosity of Flick. Oh, we're gonna have to. That's a question of mine after the sprint. So, concept of religion. All right, we'll talk about religion. No. Oh, thank you, Emmarae. I'm sorry. The view of non-binary bodies. Okay, that's a good one to talk about, to think about. Some Flick's great grandmama side. Yeah. Okay. Materials and meaningless without knowledge. That I have that marked in my book. Because that one, like I said, this is the third time that I'm reading it, but for some reason, that didn't stand out to me until this go around.
The line that I wrote down is, "Wasn't ancestry all about what lived in the body?"
Mm-hmm.
Talking about how her aunt wanted her to learn the language of um whatever block, this whole alphabet thing. That's gonna be a second read type situation for me. But wherever her mom was from, her aunt
Right.
wanted her to learn that language versus where she actually lived, because she wanted her to learn back their ancestral language. And she was like, "But where I reside, that's what's in my body's memory. Is that not more ancestry than what was in someone else's body?" And I'm like, "Oh, come on, Aster."
Yeah. Yeah. So, in answer to your question, Josh, we're reading chapters 1 through 3 tonight for those who have not read. what I wanted to do with the Discord and with the live reading sprints is to do them Discord for like discussion in between reading, and for those that couldn't read during the week or whatever, do the sprints. I hope that makes sense. That was just my thought process. So I hope I answered your question. The fact that they considered
Disgusting.
we're gonna get there. Either or. Either or, Josh. Mom's from Y Deck, yeah. All right, so I'm going to pull the timer up. It is 9:08, and we'll start at 9:10. So I'm gonna, while I focus on trying to find a timer, Britt, can you hold the fort down? Captain? Captain, my captain?
Oh, Captain, my captain. Yes, I can. I'm not sure what to say, but I will find something to say, such as
Be your charming self.
seems very can do. Um, Salter said, mom's from the KK trying to use these as time to get through the book. Yeah, Josh, listen. I'm a mood reader, and I'm never quite in the mood to be confronted with like deep content. Sometimes I'm just like more able to take it in, but I do like deep content all day with school. So when it's time to read just like for other things like channel related stuff, I'm like, yeah, romance, fantasy with some light, maybe very slight reference to slavery as far as I want to go. But like stuff like this with like deep and unkindness of ghost, they're really good books, and I recognize that even just like reading the blurb. But I need companionship going through them. If I can't scream to someone about Giselle getting these hands, then I'm just like, well, then what? What am I to do? I need someone to kiki with on like heavier books, or I just get lost in all the heaviness, and then I don't wanna engage. So when Erica was like, we have a thing going on. How, oh, Emmarae, why are you calling me out? That's my first question. Listen, the thing about the washi tape is I promptly read your suggestion and forgot immediately. Immediately. I was like, oh, that would have been a good idea. And then I liked it. And then I was like, too bad I don't have any. And then I moved on. But the Lord is able. Amen. Amen. And
Amen.
amen. Sister Rosie just gave me some like book tabs while she was feeding me this past Lord's Day. So I don't have no washi tape, but I do have the little multicolored tabs. Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
Amen.
Okay. So, where are we? Is there a comment that I need to?
No, just Emmarae calling me out and in from
Oh, with the washi tape.
come on, amen. Yes, with the washi tape, and now her joining our praise break, and we appreciate it.
Okay. So, yeah. So, Britt, have you started annotating with washi tape? I'm just gonna pile on.
No, that's what I was saying. First of all, I
No,
started.
I heard what you said. So, my question is,
No, and that's the answer. I don't have any. I don't even quite know what washi tape is. I'm like, are y'all trying to say painter's tape? What is washi tape?
it is kind of painter's tape, yes, but
But
not painter's tape.
I'm like, I'm
It's
anticipating a butt in your sentence.
okay. So this is. Can you see that?
Yes.
This
Oh,
is
such as I might have gotten from Melanin Eclectic. Yes, because she
yes,
had the thingy. Oh, that was washi tape.
yes.
Got it.
Lord have mercy. So
But I don't understand how I would use that to annotate. Like, what? How do you use tape to
Then
annotate?
then we're gonna have to refer you to Injiri.
I'm being called out.
Injiri is the mastermind, as far as I know, with this. And
Oh, Kit.
oh, yes, yes, it's Injiri's fault. It really is.
So what? So because you can only tape what is like, you can't tape air. Like on a tab, there's a
Um,
part that's sticky and then a part that sticks out. But on tape, it's all adhesive, so you have to tape the whole page how you want.
yeah. So, all right. I mean, okay. So here's my book, Unkindness of Ghosts, and those are like my tabs.
I have
And
those.
then I have with this go around. Y'all are probably like, when are we gonna start reading? Erica said at 10 after. We're going to, I promise.
We're gonna start directly, y'all.
So when I started doing this read, so that's the washi tape.
Uh-huh.
And I fold it over, and especially if it's a page that I have something else on.
Okay.
So I've got like this highlighted, and I've got some stuff highlighted on the next page.
I see. Can you see that the from
From
this though? Can you see it from there?
well, you can. I can't find. I'll have to pull because it's up there.
Okay.
My what you call it book, one of Octavia Butler's books. You
Okay.
can see it. You can see it, but on this one, you can just really see my tabs because that's what I have most of
Okay.
right now. So yeah. All right.
Well, thank you
So
for educating me. I'm not gonna hold us anymore.
all right. So Injuri bedazzles her books. Indeed. Indeed.
Oh, I'm almost
Um,
the same. This is
Sticky notes and tabs are fine.
that's where I am.
You do what works for you. Um, just send Britt, just send you a pic. Okay. All right.
I might be having my whole back. I see.
Library borrower. Yes. So I have to journal. I need to start doing that too. All right. So we are going to get started, and I will see, or we will see you back here in 30 minutes. So happy reading.
Erica.
You couldn't hear me. I was just talking into the void.
Okay. I was like, you there? Okay.
Yeah, I was just talking into the void. So, yeah, 30 minutes, and we'll see you back. And hopefully, you guys will have lots and lots of thoughts, because I do. All right. So where did you guys get? How did you do? I reread chapters 1 and 2. Actually, I just finished chapter 2 right before the timer went off. So, yeah. So let me know what your thoughts are, where you are in the book. And I'm going to go back up to comments. Second time. So T Morgan answered your question, Val. Oh, my nose is itching. Let's see. Poppy serum as opposed to opium. Isn't that? I always thought that was the same. I don't know because do. I have no idea. But I always thought it was the same. For Flick, Samuel expressed their vocab. This may be a reference or homage to S.J. Samuel's an R.F. Flores 1997 piece, The Importance of Automaticity for Developing Expertise in Reading. I have never heard of that. Okay, I need to Google. Have you ever heard of that, Britt? You're muted.
No, ma'am, I have not. I read that and I said, "Oh, there's required reading."
I guess Salter is out here giving us required reading.
Giving us all the required, and I'm not the one to know about anything automaticity
Yeah,
related. So I'm just like, you lost me.
yeah. Have to check that out. Loon the mother is moon. Aster is star. Um, yeah, there was a discussion on somewhere else about what Aster's name meant, and somebody said something. It means some type of flower, and I don't remember what the flower was. And I was like, "That's interesting." I have to. I don't. I don't know. I didn't. It didn't interest me that much.
She
But now that Salter brings that up,
she says
um,
something about it in chapter 3, right? Like
I'm
that
sorry.
if she says Aster says something about her own name in chapter, I think it's chapter 3, where she says like, if I were to tell a story, I would tell a story about a mother who named her daughter Aster, and then she goes through talking about like the back of the throat sound and how the name means something like a star. It's
Okay.
something like that. Like I'm audiobooking it, like I said, so it's hard for me to go back and find things. I haven't listened to 30 minutes of stuff, but I do
Mhm.
remember her saying something about her name referencing stars.
Uh, you know what? I don't remember that, but I don't remember that.
Look at that! I constantly.
I don't remember that. I'll have to. I'll when I get to chapter 3, I'm gonna have to look for it now.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you just said you just reread chapters 1 and 2 and you didn't see it, then it's definitely in chapter 3.
Okay. Okay. Um, show interest in sun energy. Yes. Also, their last name is Gray. Yeah, I knew that, which I thought was kind of interesting. Um, while Aster better understands just black and white. Yeah, whoops, I kind of made that correlation because I thought that was interesting that she is 100%. It's either this or that, but like her last name is Gray, so and she has a hard time connecting to
Yeah.
other people and stuff.
Which, like,
Yeah.
maybe by the time, and first time reader. I feel like I'm on the radio. First time caller, long time listener.
Yeah.
Hey, um, that's me. But I think that maybe just in like me reading and seeing like clues, maybe that is her B plot arc, that she's gonna have to learn how to see beyond the black and white to see more nuance. But and I'm just seeing that even with like she only sees things black and white, right? So she has her mom's journals memorized, but then
Mhm.
after I almost said professor. Now I'm in the park. It's Professor Ogilvy. Um, the surgeon. After surgeon comes Theo,
Yeah.
and he leaves, and then Giselle pop out, and she's like, "Ooh, I guess you got the same thing your mama had, huh?" And she's like, "I don't." I don't know what you mean. And then Giselle's like, "Are you telling me that you've read your mom's journals and don't realize that she was writing
Mhm.
code?" And so I think that that is a good example of Aster being able to know fully both black and white, but having difficulty
Mhm.
interpreting what those things might mean if you unsettle um if you unsettle a hyper objective reading of them both and try to see the human subjectivity underneath them, like she would have to do with her mom to see that she's writing in code.
Yeah.
And then
I
the
think Giselle and Aster are definitely very much a yin and yang, and um, their relationship, as are most relationships, toxic. Um,
yeah, they need some boundaries.
but they're also, and I'll say this, it's not a spoiler or anything like that. The relationships are toxic, but they're also very loving in their own way.
Yeah.
And you'll see that as it progresses. But and actually you'll see, like, in chapter 3,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
um
I do see a little bit. That doesn't stop me from wanting to smack her because I have
I know,
a
right?
annoyance tolerance. But that's why I was like, they seem to have a long relationship. So
Yeah.
I think that that like brusqueness is just how Giselle has learned to and has to be given the circumstances
Hmm.
of their life. And that's just how she protects herself, but she's still trying to protect Aster in a way and trying to tell her, like, yo, wake up. Like, the things that you're doing don't make any, like, that sort of thing. Like, she's trying to reach Aster through Aster's
Hmm.
more removed life view. And that's how she tries to reach her, through brusque speech and by being destructive and touching all her stuff and invading her space. Like, that's how she tries to love on Aster. Um,
Hmm.
I'm catching that. I'm just like, I just want to, on Aster's behalf, just two chops to the throat.
I hear you. Not one, but two. Can she just have one?
The
One.
thing, the momentum just might. It's the momentum. But how about I just save this? I'll just save giving her the 1-2. I won't even give her one. I'll save the 1-2 for when she really take it there.
Oh, well, okay.
And I'm saying, you've been having this one coming for a minute, but I
Okay.
felt it because I knew it was gonna be a 1-2. So now that you deserve the 1-2, let me give you what's been on reserve.
Okay. All right. Well, you might have to give her 4 then.
And I'm so loath to do this to a black woman. So I'm like, I'm trying to withhold, but
Yeah.
dang,
You
boundaries.
you'll be holding.
Sometimes
You
we gotta call each other in, Erica. We just gotta call each other in sometimes.
That's right. But on the Aster, what we were talking about, with um I forgot.
Salter about the sun and the moon.
No. It was something that you said about how Aster is removed, and she doesn't get what people are saying.
Yep.
Um
Space
and
is
it
like
even
white.
says, like, Aster, she's always memorizing new ways to interact with people.
Hmm.
And I found that to be interesting. And she is a lot of the commentaries have said that Aster is autistic, but River Solomon has not said that she wrote, or they, oops, sorry, that they wrote her as autistic.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm not getting the feeling that that's ever going to be explicit. I'm
Yeah,
just her behavior seems coded as autistic or on the spectrum.
it's not coded. I will say that it is not coded at all in here as Aster is autistic.
When I say
Um,
coded, I mean like the things that she's doing are behaviors generally associated with people on the spectrum.
yes,
That's
I
what I mean.
will. Yeah, I will say that. And you'll see it. It's not spoilery. I'm not saying yes and spoiling anything, but
After one, so
yeah. I mean, you'll see more behaviors
okay.
that will lead you to believe that she is autistic. So let's go back. Emmarae got distracted. Finished chapter 2. Chapter 2. Knowledge is power. Yes. That do you remember that part? Where Flex Mima says
Mhm.
that Aster gave them the knowledge, gave them, because they are referred to they them. Um
The quote that Salter shared earlier, right?
yeah, was that a quote?
Something about like the materials versus knowing how to use it, right? And you said you didn't catch that until this time. It was way up before we sprinted the first time.
Oh, did I miss it? I must have missed
No, you
it.
commented on it.
I did. You know
Uh-huh.
what? I haven't had anything to drink. Maybe I should.
That might sharpen your senses.
Yeah. Um.
Keep going. I'll go back and find it. Oh,
Okay.
here it says he said materials are meaningless without knowledge, which is what you gave us.
Oh yeah, yeah. I did forget that. Sorry. Because didn't I say for him to bring that up again?
You did. I don't remember why you told me to do that, but you definitely did.
Because I wanted to say something about it, but he didn't remind me, and I have to think on it again. Because I should have written it down at the time while it was on my brain,
Hmm.
but I didn't.
Live and learn.
Yeah, live and learn. It'll probably be like at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh,
Wake up like
that's what it was. So, Josh, not really sure what I'm thinking. I'm trying to focus on details more closely this time and hoping things will start to pop. Josh, did you read this before? I think you read this before. Because I think you were in the live that we did, you and Sarah. Um, okay. All right. All right. I thought I was correct. Um, Throne of Glass and Liking. Okay. Um, where are we?
Uh,
Salter. Salter is and I will say this. I remember he popped into one of Ashley's um
and you thought he was a troll.
yeah,
But he's been consistent since
he
then.
has been. He has been. Chapter 4. Um
He said, "This is your reminder right here."
Page 28. We must protect the wildlife sanctuaries. Oh, you know what? I got thoughts about that. Those wildlife sanctuaries in the upper decks, the nature spaces.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about it except for that, so I'm just like, I'm waiting
Yeah,
there because y'all. You said you haven't seen a rabbit in forever, so like, what's in the sanctuaries
right.
over
I mean,
here? Reanimating feet, like what's going on?
there are horses.
Oh, the horses survived and the rabbits did not. Make it make sense.
There are horses.
Giselle is the great for Aster. I agree, T.
Um,
I didn't understand what that was. Are you talking about Giselle or uh, does
I think I think Ari is talking about Giselle. I think they're talking about Ari. I think they're talking about Giselle.
okay?
Lord.
I only see her
Um
character once. Are you saying it's gonna happen again?
mhm.
She gives me that sort of careless feel. I'm just like,
Yep.
so you're destructive from without and within. Okay, well,
Yep. It does happen again. I won't tell you. I mean, it comes up fairly soon, I think.
okay.
The
I'm
next time.
in chapter 4, so I will
Um
see it soon. But
Starlanders have pride. Yes, they do. Have lots of pride. I I'm sorry. I was focused because I'm like really behind in the comments. And this is kind of like why you have somebody else that's monitoring comments while
I
you're like talking. Um
It's fine. Go at your pace. It's not like I mean I am reading the comments and everything, and if someone says something that's relevant to what you're currently talking about, I'll flag you. But it's not like you
okay.
can jump ahead and just forget and just leave what you were talking about. It's your
Okay.
class. I'm with you.
So I just have a question. Well, I have lots of questions. So at the very beginning with the whole flick amputation, did that set the tone for you for the book, or are you still like trying to get the tone of the book?
I, you know, let he
And
that
anybody else can answer the question too.
let
All right.
he that think he stand. Be careful lest he fall. I think I understand the tone. Um, I think I see the tone that's being set about I'm ready for Rivers Solomon to take Glee and throw me for a loop. But so far, I think I have the tone. For me, and I think Flick is what set the tone for me because that moment of like the entire interaction set the tone because we're navigating through Aster and her conversation with this boy who no, not boy, this human Flick, yes, they, and they're very like sarcastic in the face of an amputation, and like Flick is a child. So I think for the first chapter, I was like, I was paying very, very close attention because I was like, is this? And I wrote it in my reading journal by Melanie Eclectic. Um, I was like, I'm waiting to see if Flick is going to cry because that will help. That will give me a sense of the world. Like, is this a place where I'm about to see a whole world of amputees because you all have to deal with the cold all the time and you don't even cry about it anymore? Or is this still something to mourn? And I think that River Solomon was very purposeful with not having Flick cry until the very end. So you're sort of suspended in that um in that witnessing of like I can't really make a decision yet until I know how Flick is genuinely reacting because right now we're just getting the sarcasm and the there is no should, and that does give you clues about the world, but until you get Flick's honest reaction of how do you feel about losing a foot, you kind of don't know which way to go yet. And so
Mm-hmm.
after they cried, then I was like, okay, so this it's not like it's never happened, but this is still people are still reading these things as tragedy, like they're not inured to a child losing their foot.
Right. So trigger warnings. Um, huh? Did you say yes? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So trigger warnings. There's abuse. There's body mutilation. Seen that. So well, I don't want to say body mutilation. Self harm. Same thing for Giselle. Um, what else have we seen? Um, various forms of abuse being alluded to so far. Um,
Yeah.
am I missing?
I don't. I'm only 3 chapters in, so right now I'm
Yeah,
like getting a. This I've only seen things like suggested, and I'm not sure if they'll come up in any more explicit way. So you would. I'm gonna leave the content warnings to you because I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But there,
So
like stuff about the hysterectomy, I was like, are we gonna go into like a sexualized trauma territory? Like I don't like the stuff that she was saying, like the general the lieutenant and his bone he has to pick with her, and how him giving her name to the soldiers. I got really afraid I was about to
mhm.
hear something really bad, and I didn't, but I don't know that I won't. So that's why I'm like, I don't know, I can't give any trigger warnings beyond the ones that you've given of like
Right, right. So, but that's, I mean, I think that's some of it. Those are some of the immediate trigger warnings
okay.
um that that we see in the first 3 chapters. We see them,
Mhm.
but we will um see how it plays out, if that makes sense. Without spoil giving too much away. Um, Second time. What is this? It's Giselle. So we already know how you feel about Giselle. How how do you feel about Aster? What are your thoughts on Aster?
Should I
As
say?
I'm going through the comments.
Yeah, okay. My like, okay, don't judge me. My knee jerk reaction of like thinking about Esther was I mean I think that I she in my head I'm thinking of her sort of like Elsa, and very much not, but a little bit sort of like Elsa. And that like she's just very project
Are you talking
based.
about Elsa from Frozen?
I am. That's why I said don't judge me. Leave me alone. The way you stopped everything.
Took me a minute.
You said wait, hold it. Yes,
I'm sorry.
this much. Just listen. I mean,
Okay, go ahead.
that's why I said I tried to preface it as much as I could. I think Erica came out with the gavel real quick though. Listen, I was like, am I gonna get dragged on the tube? You asked me my thoughts. So I think of her a little bit like Elsa, and that they're both pretty like removed and goal oriented, and you know that they care about people around them, but all of that that all comes through a perspective, and a paradigm of like goals and categories. Um, that's what I meant. That's really the end of my comparison between Aster and Elsa.
Okay.
That's it. Um, but I mean, I like her. I see someone in the
Mm,
comment. I see Boy Queer Reed says the Aster is a time bomb ready to explode. I
I
definitely
think
think,
so.
yeah, I definitely think that she is, and that's why when Giselle came in doing the most in chapter 20, that's why I was like, I will chop you in the throat 2 times. Like,
Hmm.
out of like protectiveness of Aster, because like after the day we just after like the end of the day that we just had with Aster, and knowing that she's had a longer day than that, and her saying like, I just need to go to this space and be removed and be like, I just need to separate. After having amputated a child's foot and knowing that you're just like that doesn't fix anything, and all the system crap, all of that sort of stuff. I don't want to hug her because I don't think she would enjoy a hug from me.
Right.
But I I do just wish a cocoon around her where she could be as removed and content as she wants to be. But I feel
Mhm.
like that's not where growth is for her. Like that she needs it because for like to take care of herself, she needs to be able to retreat. But that she's gonna have to go through, and so I'm just like, just stretch out your hands, church, to ask them.
Yeah. Um, Aster is one of those. Is she? I really. I will. I will say this.
Okay,
I love Giselle. As messy as Giselle is,
messy is the word. Go on.
I love Giselle.
Okay.
Aster, I I like.
I'm
I
getting,
won't say that I love,
I'm getting tolerance from you.
but I do like Aster,
Okay.
and I think the reason why I can't say that I love Aster is because she's such a prickly character.
Mm-hmm.
And and what I mean by that, prickly in the sense that you can't get close to her, and you know what she thinks, but at the same time, you don't know what she feels.
Mm.
So, um, I I'm a little conflicted with
Uh,
Aster in that regard, but I
I'm getting a little bit of sense of her feeling just from the way that she's like, because I mean, we have the benefit at least of being in her POV. So
Mhm.
it's like you're right, we're getting thoughts, not that doesn't necessarily um extend to feeling, but just
Right.
in the reactions that she has, for instance, of when Giselle is like, "Are you telling me that you never realized that your mother was speaking in code?" Like, I feel like we do get glimmers of feeling from
Mhm.
Ash. That doesn't they don't overwhelm her perspective. Surely we get more like a log of her reactions and thoughts than we do a journal of her emotions. Um, Maybe because I'm a little prickly and short tempered, I like Aster. I also wouldn't use the word love, but not just because that just doesn't seem to fit Aster.
Mhm.
Like
No.
it just don't seem to
Um.
fit. I have a the beginning seeds of sturdy appreciation for her though.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. She's such a strong character,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean they're all strong characters to go through what they're going through. Having having the heat turned off, so the upper deckers can have their garden in their park or whatever it is that they have, and still be comfortable.
Right.
And
While people are losing feet. And to be
yeah,
honest, I was very much like just watching Aster until there was that moment with the Barbies where Giselle was, and I also wanted to chop her for that. Don't be over here throw my Barbies around. Like, don't throw Barbie. But she when she was like it, they were talking about like the progression of the explosions,
yeah.
how Aster took it a little bit too far and would have continued to do so had Giselle not called her in. So I see that toxic though it is, their relationship has its parameters and safeguards that they have for each other to keep each other from
Mhm.
crossing certain lines, which we have to appreciate as well as we critique. So I do appreciate that. But for me though, when I heard that Aster was over here literally setting it off and going all the way into exhale on the guard station, I was like 5 points to Gryffindor. Absolutely.
Yeah. and i
150.
and I wonder if that's, and I can't remember if that's when Aster got in trouble with lieutenant slash uncle.
Oh, was that what did it? Because I was like,
I
what
don't
exactly did she do?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
I don't
um
remember hearing her say that's when the trouble started
it,
with.
And so far it hasn't.
Okay.
In these first 3 chapters, it hasn't said that.
Okay.
But I can't remember if it comes out that that's what it is or if it was something else.
Okay. Because I'm sure it probably
Um,
is. I'm like, what do you even want with her? Care about her? All this stuff.
yeah, but I have a theory, and I remember Sarah said that I was all conspiracy theory.
Let's get tinfoil hattie. I'm here
Yeah.
for it.
So, but that doesn't come until later, so I don't want to
I'll be
say
looking out
what it
for it
is.
then. In the
Yeah.
meantime, though, monitoring your comments. Um, so somewhat T said I like Aster, love Theo. Wonderful segue because I was promised some Theo T. But we pivot.
Yeah, let's pivot. So, TOT, what
Mhm.
well, I can't give away too much TOT. Huh. Let's see. So, Aster knows Theo.
Am I being gaslit? What's going on?
um, I
Come on,
can't.
Charlie.
I can't because if I say anything else,
You've said
it,
nothing.
that's the point. If if I say anything else, then I'll give away their relationship. Okay, so their relationship is very, very right now superficial. He's come to her to ask for her help. They know each other, but not in a biblical sense. They don't.
Okay. Okay, because like Salter's on the same T train I am. When Theo said I'm coming to you as an acquaintance
Wait,
and our prickly pear was like, I
yeah.
was like, we don't like that. Why don't we like that? What's wrong with being an acquaintance?
Oh no. Oh no.
She wasn't feeling
There's,
that. So that wasn't giving me we're just colleagues. That wasn't giving me collegiality. I didn't get that from the prickle of
they
acquaintance.
know each other.
Well, but clearly though, they know each other even beyond acquaintanceship. Because if he's been protecting her for as long as it seems he has, like we're at least friends. Come now.
They're buddies. I'll leave it at that.
Yes, Josh, the surgeon guy who is an acquaintance.
I'll leave it at that. They're buddies.
Salter.
What does Walter say now?
He said she was in her feelings heavy. She was like, I don't do this type of stuff for mere acquaintance.
You know, Salter, you're right.
That's all I'm going to say.
um,
All I'm saying.
so okay. So since we're talking about, and then we're gonna start in a couple minutes with the next 30, I guess, to get through. We should be able to get through chapter 3, maybe. Um, but talk about. Can I talk about that,
Talk
or
about
is
what?
it? No, I can't. I can't say that because that's in chapter 3 for those who have not read chapter 3 yet.
Does Theo come in chapter 3?
Yeah, comes in chapter 3.
So yes, Josh.
Um, so how about this? Why don't we? Let me see if there are any other comments. Anybody else have anything that they would like to say or ask that does not involve Aster and Theo's relationship or lack thereof, acquaintanceship?
Not lack thereof.
So
You know, it's like that. Okay, cool. Fix your patient on your own if that's the case.
I there was one, like the thing that she said, who said this? Matilda's an orphan, a daughter of dead gods, but the ancestors is real and their spirits are at work.
Was
I
that
just, huh?
Flix Mimo? That
Who said that? Um, How can you? It's Flix Mima.
Okay.
Um,
Look at the
so it's
reference.
under her dialogue, but it's not her dialogue.
Okay.
But Aster, I just made that connection. Um, how Matilda is an orphan, like the only supposedly the only ship out there, and how Aster is also an orphan.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking about familial relationships, particularly mother-daughter relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and how the kids are nurtured. Um, because there's this one character that I think it comes in, Aunt Melusine, and Aster mentions her.
Yeah,
Um,
the language lessons.
yeah, and how she's the one that raised Aster, and how there's like a cluster of kids. I feel like Aunt Melusine and like the Flix Mima,
Mm-hmm.
even
Mm-hmm.
with the teenager that lights the lantern or the heater. There's like a cluster of kids that these mothers Mimas raise, and I was just wondering, did you pick up on that, or um, did you have any thoughts about that?
I still need to see, not friends with bennies. I still need to see Aster move around. She's only been to Flick's deck and to her wherever she deposited the foot. I'm not even her botanarium
For
wherever.
botanarium?
Yeah, so she's only been those two places, and then everything else has been through memory and recollection. So I I I will probably need to see more families before I understand what Rivers is trying to do, or if it's more communal than like nuclear,
Hmm.
like a village type situation where it's per deck, or like auntie is more like everybody is auntie, who's bringing
Yeah,
her a mom, or if like any older woman is Mima or Grand Mima based on how old she is. Um, I
and
haven't figured out which one it is. Like if her aunt is really her mom's sister, or if it's more of a communal aunt situation.
okay, that's fair. That's fair. Um, the title of the book. So I'm not gonna pretend to know where the title of the book comes from, but there is, before I say this, and okay, it starts in chapter 3. Um, Aunt Melusine takes Aster down to what is now her botanarium, and she talks about ghosts and things like that. I'm not going to get into it because we're going to talk because we're it's right next. But throughout like the first 3 chapters, there's a lot of mention of ghosts and ancestors,
Mhm.
and the only way that I can even remotely describe it is that ghosts. Let me get my thoughts together. Get my life together.
Stop.
Um,
I was just reading another comment that someone else said. You acting like I'm over here just throwing friends with benefits around. Not I.
so ghosts, ancestors, and ghosts. It's the I don't know where the unkindness comes from, and I think that's where I'm being thrown off. But the ghosts part is just that the ancestors have gone. I This is my thought process, is that the ancestors have gone on, and maybe it's because they've gone on and they've left the people to endure these hardships and on their own, and to figure life out on their own. I But there's a lot of mention of memory and history as well.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if it's from if you don't know your history, you don't remember your history, then you're bound to repeat it. And because the ancestors have gone on, they didn't teach, they weren't able to teach their descendants. I could be completely wrong. I don't know.
I certainly don't know. I'm thinking about Sadia Hartman, who was a um, who was a like I won't say a slave historian, but she does a lot of looking at slave archives and Middle Passage and transatlantic and all of that. And she talks about um, sitting in the room with history and listening to the screams. And this
Hmm.
is kind of giving me very that of having to encounter one's history. And I think that Aster is going to have to encounter her mother's ghost in some way in order to understand what happened to her, particularly if it's linked to the sickness of the current ruler and her
Hmm.
basically her nemesis being his successor. Like you're gonna have to choose
Yeah.
between the devil you know and the devil you know really well. Um,
Hmm.
and I think that her mother understanding better her mother, like understanding her mother and not just knowing the story of her mother is going to be important. So I think that, I mean, I don't think that's what the entire book is based off of, but just like that encountering of that particular ancestor. And then Flick's Mima had said, or maybe it was the aunt said something about when I think it was somewhere around the orphan statement of Matilda being an orphan, made me wonder if perhaps she was not always so. Like, were there other spaceships that were out here and they all have either died or found a place? Like, I remember something made me ask that question. Um,
And see, that was one of the things when I one of the things that I thought about, were there others?
yeah,
And because they're supposedly going to the promised land.
right, right. So I'm
Um,
like, are you the last ones
that's
to have gotten there, or what happened?
right. So I'm like, I don't know. I mean, if where they were coming from was uninhabitable, then where were they going to go?
Right,
Um, and how did they know about this promised land? And how did they get so far off that they've been traveling for hundreds of years?
right.
So, and did they always have this structure of like the antebellum South,
Exactly.
or
Like, where did this come? Like, can we get a date? Like, can we get a date? Because we're do we have one? Because we're talking about
no?
history, but there aren't any dates to anchor us to like the beginning
Exactly, and
structure
that's
of the system.
right, and there are none, that's
Okay.
why I'm like memory and history, because
Mhm.
there's quite a bit of talk about that. Um, not knowing, but no, there's no. We know it's in the future,
Okay.
but it's set up in an antebellum South kind of way.
Right.
So the white people are at the top,
Literally.
literally, and then um, who is it? Theo, who we'll see in chapter 3 in the description of Theo, how he was supposed to be on a different deck
Right, but he's
altogether,
passing, so he can
but
sort
he's up with his dad, um, because he's passing.
of. Even though his nose is wider than hers, I was like,
Right. But but he can still apparently pass,
evidently,
evidently.
he's 17,
And
so something's going right for him, I suppose.
right. And so and then, and I don't know if like the lower you go in the ship, the
The darker
darker they are.
it,
But I still got the impression that Loon was lighter.
she said that she was at some point, I think,
Yeah, I thought so.
that
That
Loon was
Loon,
lighter than her, right?
yeah. but
Yeah.
yet she's dark skinned.
Who the daddy? Like I have we did I miss that? Did I go deaf for a second? Like
Doesn't know who her father is.
okay.
Yeah, she doesn't know who her dad is.
No, Salter, first of all, don't come at me like that.
What, this one?
Yes. Salter, out of order. No, I'm not.
Because he can pass.
Okay, but you better bring us like an apple or something. Like if you're not gonna be out here in the field, you better grab an apple, a fig Newton, something.
No, no. Sorry.
I'm not gonna out you or nothing, but like once a month, you better find your way to an apple for me. I'm just saying.
Is it the title? Okay. First, I didn't understand that for a second. I think the title is purely metaphorical. Okay, that's good. Like ghosts of history and rendered unkindness of the present. Oh, that's good, Val. I thought about it. Obviously, I thought a whole lot about it. You like Val's interpretation a lot better than mine. Is that what we're saying?
I've literally said nothing.
I think it makes sense because you can make the connection. Okay. True. Better not be that read hardly such. No, it is not. You know what? I'm still salty about that Salter.
What happened?
Okay, so Harley had us read what the name. What was the name of that book?
The
I
last
don't even
space.
remember. I didn't even finish it.
Not escape
Um,
Exodus.
huh?
Escaping
No, it was
Exodus.
not. No. Um, what was the name of that book? I don't remember. Something about a vampire huntress, which I thought sounded really good. And then,
Yes, Minions.
yeah, Minions.
Or
Yeah.
Minion.
Um,
Okay, I've heard of it. I didn't read it. What happened?
we won't go there. I'm traumatized.
Oh no!
It was horrible.
Oh no!
It was horrible.
In what way? Like
Every
trigger
way.
or she
It was
said,
horrible.
"Get your two chops to the throat."
10 chops to the throat.
Oh, 10.
I, it had,
Someone in the comments tell me what happened. Go ahead, Erica. Keep it, girl.
um, yeah.
Go on, Erica.
The old home was 300 years ago. No idea what part of Earth. Yeah, but we don't know. Yeah, when it was like, was it
Yeah, we don't have a date.
2010, and now it's 300 years later.
Y'all
So
acting like it was 1815.
yeah. Um. So
That's all coming to
coming back,
listen.
Britt snitching.
No, just pay me what you owe. If you're gonna be out there passing, go ahead and pay the toll, pimp. That's it.
Okay. Well, yeah. See, Morgan, yeah, because in chapter 3, we'll just say it in since we're going to read it anyway. In chapter 3, it actually talks about how, like, we mentioned his nose, his
Mm-hmm.
hair is super curly,
Mm-hmm.
and his complexion. Yes, he's white, but I get the impression that he's also more olive toned.
Okay.
Um, because there's a mention of him going out like in the sun, whatever sun that is, and he gets kind of brown.
Yeah. Like
Um,
up in the upper deck for too long.
yeah.
With brown.
So there is that mention. So
So maybe he's not like maybe he's not passing fair. Maybe everyone knows that he's mixed, but because one, he's lighter skinned, and two, because he's a surgeon. So like, are you willing to die for your racism, or are you gonna get over it?
Well, and then I think the other part of that is that because he's lighter skinned, or he is, I think he's still white passing though,
Okay.
maybe.
I
But
got the white passing. That's what I got from it. But
yeah,
like what you said, he browned some. I was like, well, maybe he is
yeah.
passing, but people maybe realize that he
Hmm.
might have a drop.
Yeah. The
Maybe
oh,
a
it
drop.
it's mentioned in chapter 3. It is mentioned in chapter 3. But um his father, I forget who his father is, but his father is powerful. So, yeah, they're not gonna mess with him. If he says, "Okay, I want my kid up here and not on that deck, or on whatever deck," then that's what it's going to be. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he gives the passes to Aster, which
Passes at him. All okay with the innuendo. Thank you, Salter. Duly noted.
um Theo. Oh, okay. Thank you, Josh, for that clarification. You can read whatever you want. Just know that we're talking about an unkindness of ghosts. Oh, yeah, it was Minion. Yeah, we figured that one out. Yeah. Minions, everybody. Minions, minions. Everybody's saying minions because I forgot, wiped it from my memory. Now it's been brought back up. Let's see. All right. So are y'all ready for another? Because it'll be.
Yeah.
Oh, Emmarae. Okay. Have a good night. Glad you stopped by. Um. All right. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Is this our last sprint?
Should be. I think. I think we should be able to get through the next chapter in 30.
I agree.
Um. So I got to restart the timer. Haha. Why didn't you tell me that, Britt?
Huh? Because I'm trying to get the tea. You two trying to spill. I'm over here monitoring the comments like a good co-host, as you just said. And right now, I'm on the lookout for tea.
Okay, so y'all can tell her about who was in that live, the Minions live.
So someone knows something because someone brought it up.
Salter was there.
Salter, now you know you the biggest teapot. Come on and stop playing these games.
Salter was there. He knows. He knows all how I feel about Minions. So, all right, I'm gonna mute myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, First of all, let me finish saying what I was gonna say before I mute myself. I'm gonna mute myself, click the play button for the timer, 30 minutes, and happy reading. All right. So that was it. That was our 30 minutes. How did you do? I was kind of looking at the chat and it's been pretty lively here. Let's
I was like, what y'all got going on? After I got my tea out, I went to a different screen.
Now was it actual tea? Or was it Lipton? Was it Lipton peach tea?
It's the very cherry tea that I
Okay.
used on my channel that one time, and I've just continued to make it since. But I was talking about the tea of what happened with Minion.
Oh, okay.
I had to know.
Okay. Um, and who was it that said I looked pissed? I think it was T.
Salter, I don't know. I
Did
attribute
I
all.
really look pissed? I was. Not gonna lie about it.
Listen. Well, how was Harley to know? Maybe they just saw the.
No, it was Harley. Harley read it when she was younger, and and she really enjoyed it.
Oh, it's
And hmm,
old.
say that one more time. I didn't hear
It's
you.
an old book.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like 19,
oh,
19. It's the late 90s, early 2000s, I think. I don't
oh.
remember. But she says she read it when she was young and really liked it, and it had played a significant part in her life, which is fine. And so she's put it out there for us to read. And yeah,
And you were not a fan.
not a fan, not a fan, not a fan, not a fan,
Mm.
not a fan.
Okay. Well, so tomorrow I have my snacks at the ready.
So um yeah, it started off where it was, I thought it would be good, you know. It's one of those. Starts off good. It had good bones. It really did. It had the potential to be a good story,
Uh-huh.
but it
Oh.
crashed and burned
Mm.
for me. I can only speak for myself.
Well, from T and Salter in the comments, you were not the only one that felt like it was crash and burn. And I just want to point your attention to Salter throwing his compatriot under the bus, talking about T was instigating in the minion stream, but being quiet now. I'm just helping you get to the comments. That's all.
Salter is rewatching and he's laughing. He's like, I'm in tears? Really?
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited.
We did have some fun though. I mean, I think I had like 2 glasses of wine, and I'm one of those people that does over pours. So
Heavy handed with it.
yeah. So yeah. So let's look. So did we say where we got um so what do you guys think so far, chapters 1 through 3? What are your final thoughts on what we've read so far? And I'm just gonna click through comments. Hilarious. Hey Bree.
Hey, Bree.
Um Guys are saying escaping accident. What I mm, I liked Escaping Exodus. It the first book and the duology. I mean, and it's not her debut; it's her second. Temper was her first.
And the second one's out now.
Yeah, that just came out um not too long ago. But Escaping Exodus had its issues, but there's not a book out there that doesn't have issues.
Right.
So, but I enjoyed it. There were some wacky things that took place that I was like, okay, but
Yeah.
not
I
like Minion.
go. I let some of it go because I'm like I understand that you're attempting to write a imperfect world. So when something happens that I'm like, what? I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
that's not like it was an accident. Like that's how it goes.
yeah.
So
Um, more shout outs to Bree.
I
Um,
went Bree's TikTok. If y'all are not plug plug for the Locked Booktician. If you are not on her TikTok, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's the most hilarious thing. Consistent
yeah,
content, quality, hilarity. And I'm just gonna use this time to say, Britt, whenever you want to get on making a TikTok feature length Britt Bennett movie, you know, we're not gonna leave you out there. You'll have some fans, you'll have some clicks, some views. But go ahead. Back to you, Erica.
I'm all for shouting out people. Shout them all out. Um, so T Morgan says something that they forgot to mention is that the blackout started 25 years ago and happened around the same time Luna, Loon, Loon, or is it Luna, died. Her mom, same time Astra's mom died.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Got that. Yeah.
and um, she mentions in chapter 3, she's talking about, she talks about that and how um, her mother, her mother, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. I have so many things swirling around. I have like notes.
Okay.
I ran out of sticky paper, little post-its, so I had to start the big one. Stuff that I want to talk about before we go.
Well,
But
she started
huh?
referencing her mother and the blackouts in chapter 1, right? Because didn't someone say, "Oh, I forget how it was brought up and something about maybe not wanting to make her relive her mother," and she was like, "I've been reliving my mother for the past week or so, and
Yeah,
it's
that
not
was
anything explicit. It's in the comments about the blackout, and that's
yeah.
happened."
Um, and she says that in conversations that she's overheard that the blackout started 25 years, the first blackout was 25 years ago. Same time when she died, her mom died. Um, but I find that interesting, and having read it, I can't say why because it's plot point I don't want to give away. Um, but I've always found that interesting how she hasn't made the connection that her mom was like working on the deck and trying to figure out what was going on, and she hasn't made the connection yet. And I guess that's because her hmm
That black and white again of like
yeah,
between the two. If there doesn't, if there, which that goes to like the flat. I hope not in chapter 4 when she was talking to Theo and um, she was talking about when he was still teaching her and she was helping the little girl with the nosebleed and the bruises.
that's the beginning of chapter 4.
Okay. Also, content warning for references to child abuse.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, but just that of like that's just another example of her not really jumping to conclusions if she doesn't see a very explicit bridge. She's not going to make that leap or even ask, "Are these
Yeah.
are these bruises in connection to something?" or like that sort of thing. Like she's not going to do it. Which Theo and um, Giselle for sure are good. Are I think sort of like her balancing scale to help her.
Yeah, and he even says it in chapter 3 that he made a comment and he's like, "Oh, I should have been clearer."
Yeah.
And
Which
and
like he was clear, but like you know how you have to communicate with her of like and you
right.
can't be that literal with it.
Right, cuz and then she says, "I thought I had," in her mind, she's like, "I thought I had trained
Mm-hmm.
myself out of these things."
Yeah,
And
yeah,
um But I found it interesting. Like she's sitting on the desk and she's got her knees propped up, or she's propped up, and she's like propped up into this like little protective ball while he's telling her something while they're having this conversation. And then later on, when he says whatever it is that he says, I'd have to flip through, and she relaxes and like drops her guard, so to speak. Um, and I think that that dynamic that they have will play itself out where she's always in like a protection. I have to protect myself because I don't know if Theo is on my side.
Mm.
Um,
It
because
does.
he's an upper decker.
Yeah,
Hmm?
yeah. One, he's an upper decker, like want so that, but then also like you're related to my personal terrorist.
Yeah,
So like you've helped me mitigate that, and you've used that relation to um you've used that relationship to support me, but also like I think there's always just gonna be that sort of like trepidation for her of like you're
yeah.
still related to him and you're an upper decker. So like you have a lot of proximity to things that do me harm. And
Mm-hmm.
you you have in the past used it to help me. I think she's always just waiting for those actions to be past and not to be present.
Yeah,
Um, and so I think that's part of it. It's just his sheer proximity to the things that hurt her.
yeah. And I mean, it is his uncle,
Right.
and you can't he can't escape that. I mean, and I thought it was I thought one of the things that she said, if he had been in jail for helping some for helping, I guess,
For
doing
helping
some.
her when he was sterilizing all those men. I
Yeah.
said, "What in the world?"
So
Casually,
and he said it was vitamins or whatever it was.
yes, I said, "What, Theo?" I genuinely do not know how I feel about that. I want to be like, let's look at how hard he went for our girl, but also I'm like, but you did non-consensual procedures on people, and that's not okay.
Let's talk about consent since you brought it up. I love um how Aster asks Flick if she can lift up their gown.
Yes.
And I thought I was like, wow, in an environment when consent and agency
Hmm.
is nowhere,
Right.
Aster gives Flick an option. You, she gives Flick agency. She allows Flick to consent to something in an environment where they don't have that.
Right. And she lets Flick set the pace because like
Yeah.
he gets there and it's like, yo, it is cold down here. But
Mhm.
she gets there and Flick is like, yo, it's cold. Like she
Mhm.
like she's used to be in the botanarium where it's already warm. She has to come down there to do this procedure for them, and she's like, it is cold down here, but Flick needs time to rectify in their mind what's about to happen, and she gives them that time. So I
Mhm.
and that's not a moment where she's like saying, do you need time to be sarcastic? Like she doesn't, it's not explicit, and it doesn't necessarily fall under like the way of how we think about consent, but just as far as empowering someone to be to be cooperative with someone in their care. Like I know that
Mhm.
I have to do this, but I understand that this is your body and I'm coming into your space by virtue of me needing to treat you. And so I'm gonna let you set the pace for how and when that care happens and invite you to or ask you to invite me into your space as opposed to just
Right.
cutting up like I'm gonna try to follow you to the extent that I can, even
Yep.
especially because I'm the medical professional and propriety tells you that you should yield to me, even in this vulnerable space for you.
Yeah. and such a vulnerable time,
Yeah.
because I mean they don't, just in general, they don't know what tomorrow may hold. Um, who's gonna get violated or whatever the case may be. I mean, it's such a horrific setting that they're in, and life is just very unpredictable.
What is going on with Lonesome Dove Call? Wait.
What? I'm Wait, where are we?
Just scroll all the way down.
All the way down? Okay.
We're all the way up.
What is true intent? After uterus, then he sterilized the men. Wow.
Right. I was like, wait, how did we get there?
Okay.
How did you get there? She asked him to do a hysterectomy on her.
Yes, she did. And
That changes things.
um she did. Because uncle was the one that deemed her ready for breeding. No, not breeding. Not just, oh, she's fertile, so she can go ahead and be in a relationship or whatever, but deemed her worthy for breeding like an animal. Um, Let me go back up because
Okay.
I saw some comments.
Yes, I was just drawn to the Hitler complex thing. Can y'all hear me?
I can. Sometimes you break up a little bit. That's why I'm like, huh?
Okay.
Something I forgot to say, so I already did that one. Um, Current blackouts. Okay. Didn't recognize its importance. There would have been an abundance of orphans. Okay. Um, Bet money her mother didn't commit suicide. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. That's way to think ahead, Salter.
No way
Yes.
to think ahead.
um, there are a lot of nuggets that you don't get on the first go round. Or I'm still picking up stuff. And this is like my third read. Um, any ideas about the comic beside they don't know about the firearms and Lord? Um, I think that's just another luxury that, because I could have sworn that they said that the only gun that's on the ship is the one that Empress somebody or other had, and that's the only thing that's left. So I don't know. I looked up the heroine's name in the comic, and the closest I saw was the Reign of Night Empress. Could refer to Empress of the Night and about Catherine the Great.
I am so lost.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I think I have an idea, but I'm not sure. You read it as a child, you know what it will do, right? Not familiar with Catherine the Great. Not familiar with Catherine the Great either.
I mean, I
Who
know she was.
wasn't she like a British
Yeah,
monarch or something?
yeah. That's why I'm like, how do we get there?
I don't. I mean, why they're all with that rebellion life? Okay. Um, I had rebellion written down because
They
I'm
seem
feeling.
casual about it. I'm okay with that.
Hmm.
They seem very casual about it, like the casual reference to blowing up the guardhouse and like,
Yeah.
I'm with it.
I feel like they're that they've tried before,
Mm,
um, and it didn't go well, and that's why they're in the position that they're in right now.
yeah.
Um, the comic has been passed around for years. Yeah, but Sovereign Nicholas had Loon killed, either him or Lieutenant.
I would not be surprised if Lieutenant
It
did
was
something.
Lieutenant. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. So I, and this is where Sarah kind of called called me said that I was being a conspiracy theorist.
Take it there.
Because Aster doesn't know who her father is. She didn't know who her mother was. I mean, she knows her mother,
Okay.
but she doesn't know her mother.
Right.
She has
It better
absolutely
not be the
no.
lieutenant. That's what I know. Go on.
Would you say it may not be the lieutenant?
I said her daddy better not be the lieutenant. Not you over here wreaking sheer terror on your child.
Why not?
But cut. No, I'm saying like that's what moved in my spirit. But I'm like, why? Please don't do that. It's give. But we're already in the antebellum South, and that would be on brand for the history.
Exactly.
Just like, please tell me you can't just leave this girl alone. You're already not helping her life. Why must you terrorize it?
Moving on.
I'm with it though. I'm okay with that. Oh, I'm with it.
So, I mean, it just seems like why would you terrorize someone? Why would you be so mean and hateful to someone that that's on the low deck that you don't have any
Right.
relation to? When I say relation, I don't mean like you're my sister, you're my brother, you're my kid, whatever. Why would you
You don't
feel
know
the
her. She's
need?
a random person. So what is
Yeah,
your to her?
right. So
What
why
about her aggravates you?
right. Or was Loon like a relative of his, because we already know that Loon was light skinned.
Right. So maybe he's like, well, she
She
married
fooled,
down.
yeah, she fooled around with the low decker.
Right. And Aster is the living embodiment of that, and he's taking out his
Yeah,
father on her, and maybe he feels like that's what killed his sister. If that hypothetically that
right,
relationship was the downfall of her that eventually led to her death. Even if he's the one that killed her, he in his psychopathic mind, he could still be like, "You're the reason I had to kill her in the first place. Because had she not been with your daddy,
exactly. And so, I mean, there are lots of, you know, um,
here
conspiracy theories out there.
I'm here for everyone."
Yep, the tinfoil hat. We are here. Next live stream, I'm gonna have a tinfoil hat.
Yay! I'm here for it every single time.
So, nuggets to remember: 70 years after the ship launched, something happened that killed off a large number of upper deckers.
Oh, maybe that was the
Ah, maybe. All the little bombs blowing up?
little bombs everywhere.
Maybe.
Hmm.
It's good to. I'm glad these will be saved. The comments will be saved.
Yes, correct. I'm like, y'all, all the little
Well,
gems, but it's 11:34, and I'm losing my ability to think with y'all. So I'm
yeah.
just like, so
All right. So let's see. I was like looking to see if there were any other. Yeah, the historical record is really spotty.
the what is?
Historical record.
Yeah, I mean, I think because most of it is oral history or the
Hmm.
lack of, and artifacts that
Yeah.
are not directly about the history. They're just relics of a dead or dying culture.
Yeah. Theo Theo is an interesting character. And you'll see that more. Um, but anyway, all right. Double standard, yes. No love ties. But she does have, there are familial ties though, I feel. You know?
Yeah. I don't think love looks the same for everyone though.
It
I think that's
doesn't.
what it is that love looks different for Aster than it looks for people who are more comfortable socially.
Yep. I Do you agree with that? There's also commentary about people seeing Black women during Earth slavery.
The non-binary
Sweet.
human body and slavery as
Sweet.
viable. Well, if they're non-binary, I don't know if they would be counted as sexually viable.
I think, are we saying that they are?
Oh wait, non-binary
Yeah.
femme. Okay,
Yeah.
this is not my area of strength, so don't get me to lying. But I'm with you on the history of sexually exploiting Black women in slavery. What is
Mhm.
the connection that you're trying to draw? Is that were you
I
trying to
think
go back to her having a hysterectomy so she didn't have to go through that sexual abuse?
I think what this is just what I'm saying. I'm thinking that they're looking at Black bodies or Black female bodies as one disposable, and that they can do what they want to with.
Okay.
Um, I could be wrong. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Salter,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Um, Tell us that I'm assuming that you're talking about the lieutenant father relative thing. And no, I
Yeah, I'm
wouldn't.
about to say I don't think she would. If she not gonna say nothing, but the surgeon knows Aster. You're not getting anything out of her.
Yeah, Esther is non-binary in here. Yeah, and she is. She's still being pursued without consent. So, well, what is it? It's 11:37. I do have to get up and go to work in the morning. I guess I'll hold off on these until next go around.
Carry him over.
Yeah. So, if you like this, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified of new content. And we will. Aster has hormonal issue, hereditary. Wow. Okay. Wow.
I
All
was
right.
going deep.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of my notes, T. Morgan. It was one of my notes that I made that I didn't bring up. So I think for the next one, I'm gonna have to bring all of this stuff up first and then
Yes.
start. Glad you liked it, Salter. See you Sunday. Yes, see you Sunday. Don't hang up yet, Britt. And I'm going to end. You guys are welcome. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys on Sunday. What time? I forgot, but it is on my, it's in the description box.
Yeah, it's in the description. It's
I
8.
think it's on Sunday.
Uh-huh.
It's at 8.
No.
I thought it
No.
was at,
Yes, March 7th is at 12 p.m. Eastern
okay.
time.
So 12 p.m. March
Mhm.
7th.
With
I will
Emmarae and Deidra.
see you guys then. And have a good night. Happy reading. Pull out all the nice little nuggets for the next go round.
Yes.
Bye. All right.